Hello and welcome to Indiepocalypse Radio, the internet's premier source for all things Indiepocalypse. And yeah, I guess I don't know, indie games. Am I the premier independent game podcast? Definitely the premier indie game interview podcast. Listen, like I have a lot of the what you would call default accolades, I think, where you have no competition, and when you don't, you just kind of like scoop them all up and go, well, I can just claim all these because I have the number one monthly indie game anthology in the world. But anyway, speaking of this thing, which is to say Indiepocalypse said monthly indie game monthly anthology in I got a little antsy with I have a deep affection for my back button on my mouse, but sometimes I hit it on accident, but I didn't really lose anything that important anyway. But like I said, speaking of this thing and that thing, we got a guest here who you may know from one of these issues, the second most recent issue with the game Good Day. It's Toby. Toby, how you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Thanks, Andrew. I'm very glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. I feel like you are there. There are other two guests here, and that are coming soon. I feel like you have been circling my kind of like. There's people who I come across occasionally, just like in the nature of like putting this thing out, and I go, oh wait, I know who they are, or like oops follows, and I banish them and never think of them again because I have like my weird strict rules about handpicking people. But anyway, it was glad to see, which is to say, glad to see when Good Day was submitted.
Yeah. Rachel was the one who suggested actually submitting to Indiepocalypse. So.
Yeah, I think I kept coming. I think Rachel was the one I kept coming across often in my little like my little before like my kind of pre-sorted list.
Sure.
Before I split it out and like I put the dudes in the corner, I put people who like work for EA but also making indie games on the side. I put them in their own little box. I put all these just so I can exclusively have people who don't know who I am, who don't work for big companies, who aren't in parts of giant teams, because splitting $20 like 10 ways,
Sure, yeah.
doesn't split very far. Even if it's like a technical 20 understood 60, even 60 doesn't split 10 ways that well. But anyway, so important question. This is like the question everybody is always dying to know, which is how did you hear about Indiepocalypse?
I had heard about Indiepocalypse a few years ago. I'd say I don't remember exactly when, but it was I guess when I first started becoming an indie dev actually, and I started I guess like kind of just browsing itch and just trying to play random games. I think that's how I came across it.
Huh, so a long it was like a few years ago. Like it hasn't been like, oh, it kind of has almost been a few years. I mean, we're approaching, I guess because in my mind a few means 3 because a couple means 2.
Yeah, probably maybe 3 years ago. That sounds about right.
Yeah, didn't exist, but I like that it feels that old at this point.
Wait, when did you start Indiepocalypse?
Well, think back to when COVID-19 started.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much right around then.
Okay, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, COVID time has been weird.
Yeah, it kind of stretches things out.
Yeah.
Or when you don't have like when we lose our yearly markers, or they're not as apparent.
Yeah, it's weird. I guess because I started going to grad school where I was studying game design. Maybe it was around that time, which is 2019.
Yeah.
Um,
I believe, what was it? The first issue was February 2020, I think.
okay, yeah, that timeline seems to add up.
Because that's when, like, I went to PAX East and everyone was like, oh, this is weird. Let's wash our hands. Every other event's getting canceled. All the corporations pulled out. And then everything shut down. And then everything is like opening back up again because people. It's been interesting to see what opens up first and that kind of thing. I feel like there are like the sentiment of like game events don't need to open up as much because I don't think game events are as a source of income for developers as much as like other like conventions are for artists, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, mostly in that they lose money. And none of them actually like. When was like when was the last time a game developer went to like how many game developers go to like a convention and then not even like break even but like make any money like directly over the
From the
time period
convention.
of the show? And is it like two? People aren't like running T-shirts that have like Mario on them or whatever.
Yeah, maybe what is it? Magfest, but that might be it.
Yeah. But yeah. There's like it's a weird thing like that games have where it's kind of understood that it's all that preview cycle, you know? Speaking of preview cycles, tell me and the prospective audience, tell me what is good day? If I listen, we're on a busy you and I are on a busy convention floor. I've just come up to your booth. I look kind of disinterested, but you look like you might be able to sell me on good day. if you
For
just
sure.
if you just tell me the right things. What do you think? What is good day?
If I had to describe Good Day, I guess it's a um, first person narrative driven walking sim
Okay.
about wandering a Chinese themed uh, casino.
Okay. And listen, you're selling a short. You at one point you can also ride elevators and boats.
Correct. Yeah, there are like a couple vehicles
There,
or something. Right.
you were saying there's a vehicle section in this game.
True, true.
Okay. Yeah.
It's funny. I could never imagine actually even showing this at a convention. Even it's a pretty weird
Yeah.
game. It feels something you play at home alone.
Yeah. I run into this problem kind of frequently when I go to shows. Where depending on what I show, have like up or like when I give them like the full just like an issue to flip through, and then they'll pick something like Good Day, and they'll be like, "Oh, what's the goal of this game?" And I'm like, "I don't know. What do you want to be?" Yeah, just like get to the end. I guess that's the goal of all video games, I suppose. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the goal of all art, I suppose. Get to the end.
I guess you could technically just wander around, never get to the end, but
Yeah. You could speed run it. I've thought about that before, like thinking of a way to host like Indiepocalypse speed running event of like what is how do people like go through these things, and is it a lot of who can discover the Renpai fast forward feature that fast forwards you through all unseen text the fastest.
that'd be pretty fun. I'd participate.
I haven't. I actually maybe if you're all so I have an idea of a thing, and I haven't quite found because I wanted to have two teams, but I haven't quite decided on the two teams, and I haven't emailed any of the teams yet. but I wanted to have like a triathlon of bad games, and I need to start telling people eventually so they can properly train for them,
Hmm.
so that they can, get in ship shape so they can best compete when the time comes.
Yeah, yeah. I That sounds awesome.
Okay, well maybe team Gold Diggers would be interested. Is that is your proper now? What's your logo? What's your What's your, I was
We
surprised. Yeah,
we came up with that name after submitting, or like while we were trying to submit to Indie Apocalypse, I think, because we didn't have a team name, and
yeah,
you asked for a team name in the or we
right.
just weren't sure how to submit because it was either like submit with your name, but then
Yeah,
there were
yeah.
three of us.
I think I just put like how you would like to be credited.
Yeah. So yeah, I think C, who also came up with the title of the game and like sort of the scenario for it, where you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, she came up with the name Gold Diggers.
What a so now typically in my course of just having made games for a while and been around people who make games and getting a lot of submissions. Sometimes it seems like people spend more time on their name and their logo than they have thought put into their actual games.
Oh, sure.
Where it's like, oh, we gotta have like they have their splash screen because I guess that's what makes it a real video game.
Yeah, yeah. I'm starting to see that a little more often with even like I'm I guess a teacher
Yeah,
currently where I teach game design, and I see some students doing that too. So maybe it's
yeah.
becoming more common practice.
I think it's the kind of just the what's it? I'm trying to put the overriding culture of games is very business focused and very like
Yeah,
software focused, and that feels like a proper thing you should do, and like to make a piece of uh, a consumer product.
yeah,
If games are very like impersonal as an art form, like broadly speaking, in the culture, I think. But
yeah. I definitely feel that way. Hey, Rachel.
oh,
Hey,
someone is here.
sorry.
We've got a late breaking. I forgot. I haven't set up my. Where is? I have too many. There you. Nope. Well, I was looking for the wrong thing. You've got a late breaking guest. Where? Let's just. Since you are all like a strict team, I'll just tag you all in as you arrive. Since you're also coming in staggered style. You know what we'll do? Well, I set up Rachel, and when I say that, I mean in terms of setting up my OBS structure.
Oh,
I'll go to.
okay.
I'll go to.
Sorry for being late.
No, it's fine. It gives me a very natural way to say, "Hey, let's go on a break real quick." Toby, I hope you'll stick around.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
We're far from done, but I want to just like get the whole team in here slowly but surely. So I'll be back in like, you know, 2.5 minutes. Thanks,
All
everyone.
right. Yep.
Oops, nope, no, oh no, I forgot to. Hello and welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. That was Kudrow with Blink 182 Reunion. I don't even see this now. This is one of these little bits of music. I'm like, where the hell did I get this? I don't remember. It doesn't have like a Bandcamp in the thing but that could have been like it wasn't doing that in 2009. I have a fun little just like anyway. Speaking of, I that early break was because the next guest, the second third of Gold Diggers is here. It's Rachel. Hello, Rachel.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Glad to have you here. So important question. Got to get out of the way.
Yep.
Because the people that's the reason they come to this show, to hear very important marketing data. And I got to ask, how did you hear about Indiepocalypse?
I believe it's from Baby Castles, the Discord channel, and
Oh
then
yes.
yeah, someone posted about it. I was like, oh, this is such a cool idea, and I
that
want to be part of it. And then, yep, I just submitted the game because we just finished Good Day.
yeah.
But then I was like, oh, this is the perfect, entry for the apocalypse, and yeah, here we are.
And you're right. It is it's a perfect entry for Indiepocalypse.
It's like a lot of weird games in there. It's like, oh, wow. And then, yeah, I joined the Discord channel, and then sort of like just like lurking in the dark in
No,
the
listen,
background. I was like, oh, yeah.
That's
And
what I
then
do
it was
with their
like,
Discord channel as well.
no, it's great. So it's like, yeah, yeah.
It simply has
Start
too many
checking out.
people and no direction, so it's unusable, basically.
No, like, yeah, I just keep like scrolling through the different channels, like people recommending new games, and then I
Yeah.
play a couple of them, and they're all really cool and weird.
Yeah, to the noble souls that try and use that Discord every now and then, applaud them. But I think it just accumulated too many people that don't know what it is or don't have any. There was a guy trying to host a blockchain game jam in there a second.
Oh no.
I deleted him, or deleted it. Hopefully he got the message, and if he doesn't, I'll ban him.
Nice.
Because it's a Discord channel, it has no rules. It's no sovereign nation. I'm not beholden. But that might have even been me in that Baby Castles. Because I did post
It could
about
be.
it there once or twice.
Could be. Yep.
If it's
But it's working. I saw it.
yeah, well that's good. Yeah, because I was talking to Toby earlier. Okay, so Rachel, let me posit this question to you. You're hanging around. You're at a busy NYC game convention. You know, the lights are inexplicably dark. There's loud music playing for some reason. I don't understand why. The group that just puts on these events likes to run events like this. If this theoretical group, you know,
Yeah.
and someone has come up to your booth and you have a good day there. You decided to pay like $1,200 for 2 feet of space to show off
Okay.
Good Day. What are you telling them?
To like introduce my game.
Yes.
Or, well, I would just tell them the truth. Like, this is a game about meeting your sugar daddy in the Asian themed casino that has this fake outdoor setting that's actually indoor. And it's horror game.
Oh, I like you should lead with that. You'll get like 50 people playing your game on YouTube.
Yes.
I've found that to be a guarantee. Like every submission I get when I go, like if it's a horror game, there's like 2 or 3 embedded YouTube videos of just like, and listen, how do I say this without being mean? Some of them are just real terrible games. But if you want people to play your games on YouTube, label them as horror games, I guess.
Like a popular hashtag or something.
Yeah.
On itch for sure.
It's a whole other like it's like a whole weird subgenre. But no, I tried when I did the Amaze talk like on Monday of this week. I tried playing your game but it kept talking to me all the time and I had to stop because I was also talking. Like the structure of it was, I guess I was just monologuing for an hour and having this stranger talk to me about food and needing to get things, and I'm like, I can't handle this. I can't handle this. Oh, it'll break my train of thought. But
yeah, makes sense. Like I mentioned earlier, I guess before you got here, Rachel, that I feel like Good Day is more of a game that you play like alone in your bedroom than like maybe at like a convention. Yeah, I think maybe partly because there's like dialogue and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, it could be fun to play it in a convention. Like it might feel really different with the like TikTok voiceover and everything.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I have, like, I'm attending one in less than a
Yeah.
week at this point.
How's that going? How is Amaze this year?
The one day I just did an open talk and that was it.
Okay.
I didn't really walk around the show, and I don't know. It's hard for me to gauge these sorts of things. So I'm like, maybe I also don't know if literally anybody but the person that was part of Amaze even watched it, or if I was just talking to a void.
Yeah. Remote can be weird.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
had to lie to them because it wasn't like the open talks were weird because I don't think they were broadcast on like Twitch or YouTube or anything.
Mm.
So it's just like within their little launcher world. So I don't know, but I also couldn't open that because it was full screen and all this stuff. And I had to
Yeah.
stream my screen. So I trusted that there was at least one person watching because otherwise I think I would just have stopped because I would like, what's the point of talking for an hour to nobody?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure they will record everything, right? And
Yeah,
then-
I think they will, but
yeah, I usually will watch the recording later. But yeah, I also I'm in their Discord channel, Amaze, and then
yeah.
I think last time I accidentally clicked into one of the voice channels, and there were like 30 people, and then I think by default it doesn't mute your microphone, so I was like screaming with in the background, and then I accidentally go, oops, and then just escaped and never went back again.
No, I had two or three people pop in real quick and then run away, as if they were. That's the fun thing about digital events. I've done a couple of them, like
Yeah.
especially like ones in Gather, because have either of you used Gather at all?
No, haven't.
Mm-mm. No.
It's like it's like a little space you walk around in, like a little 2D space, and then you walk up to these like special zones, and those are like chat zones, so people's cameras and everything come up.
Yeah, I think I've used something similar.
So it's interesting because you can actually see people just like come up and then sprint away like they never would in actual real life because there's not the social politeness of
Yeah.
interaction.
That's pretty great. What did the avatars look like?
They're just like little 2D. They look like RPG Maker sprites, honestly.
Oh, okay.
I would say the whole general aesthetic of it is RPG Maker default, like real VX Ace style. Is that's a version of RPG Maker, I think. But
Can you do something like teabag around other people? Or like jump on their heads or something? It would be fun.
no, you can walk behind their table where you're not supposed to be, and they're digital. They're like virtual table. But I'm always also kind of weird about digital meetups, you know?
Oh, you can also do like video chats in there.
Yeah.
So they can see your face. Oh, okay.
It's always been like the problem of, well, these people have plenty of people to talk to. Why would they want to talk to me? Is amplified a million times. Where it's like, oh, they can talk to literally anyone on the internet. Why would they want to talk to me? So that's been a tricky thing to navigate. That's why the secret is you create an anthology, you pay people, and then those people you pay, you ask them to be on a show with just you. That's my networking secret. But speaking of,
I feel like it's nice to have a show like this so we can, all gather back together. Because I feel like in the setting, because we're all very far away from each other physically.
yeah,
So it's nice to, as an occasion, like to come back and talk about good day.
yeah, it's like to have like a space, to be in.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's also nothing quite like physical the flattening, the social flattening of a physical space where you don't have like follower accounts, And people
Yeah.
people can't eyeball you and go, that person's not valuable to me. They don't have a I can look at their resume with a click.
Yeah, I also feel like I'm better at expressing myself with like using body language and stuff.
Yes.
Too.
Mm.
Always nice.
Yeah.
Maybe one day. Again.
Yeah, it's it's who knows with this thing. But I mean, we all do have cameras, but I think it's easier. I mean, even if I don't broadcast them, I think just saying, "Hey, no cameras necessary for this show," opens it up for more people, and you have to like think less about like what you have.
Mm.
You have to make sure you don't make sure you have like the proper like. I notice when I've spoken to people who like do Zoom whatever like Google Meets or something a lot, or because they have a very specific like layout,
Yeah.
Like they have like, oh, here's my interests around my shoulders. This is how you know I'm a gamer. I have a piranha plant on my desk behind me.
Yeah. Zoom calls are a whole thing though. I feel exhausted after having like Zoom meetings. Maybe it's because I spent a lot of my grad school doing Zoom calls and stuff. It's like it almost feels harder than like in person. I mean, in person, at least for me, just because maybe like the camera's like so close to my face. I feel like I have to be like precise. I don't know.
Well, I also don't like that I can see myself.
Yeah, that too.
Do you know you can hide self-view in Zoom?
You can do that? I don't know. Maybe it's even the thought, though.
Yeah, right. The idea that you can, yes, just simply. Also, yeah, it is like there's a physical detachment when you can't like make an eye line with somebody or something.
Yeah, I read I think an article about that, like Zoom fatigue, because you keep staring at the screen, like pretending and you're talking to someone, but then you don't have eye contact, and then and you're probably looking at yourself, and sometimes their voice will like break up or something, and the internet not working, and then you're also like browsing, like looking at something else at the same time while like working.
Yeah.
So you're not fully there. And that's, I guess, exhausting.
Right. It's just like a whole right. You have like, well, what if I stop paying attention to this person for just a moment because I have the entirety of the internet with me here as well.
Yeah.
And especially doubly so if it's like a meeting that you don't want to be in.
Right.
Which is like, I guess, a blessing because it's so easy to ignore. But so let's bring it back to the reason everyone's here. Let's try to stay focused for a moment here, and that is, I've been thinking a lot about what is a definitive piece of American culture. Like what symbolizes like America to some people. Mostly because I've been getting back into Arizona tall cans, and it feels very distinctly American.
Sure, yeah.
Those symbolize American culture to me more than highways or Hollywood or whatever broad. It's the culture of the people, I think, is what I'm saying. So, what would you say, given the choice? What would you describe? What would you think is like, kind of like this? Not unsung, but maybe it is unsung, like a more unconscious kind of culture of the people sort of thing.
Well, I feel like for me, this is a kind of hard topic to contribute to because I didn't actually grow up in the U.S. From China.
Oh, that could be easy.
I don't know. Maybe a more outsider perspective.
Right. So what is the most like foreign appearing thing that is like everywhere?
I feel like when I first came here, like 7 years ago, I feel like American people are very outgoing. Like everyone is very passionate and like friendly. Because maybe in China, like there are so many people that you don't really do. Like everyone is just like hurrying to do their own thing. So they don't small talk
Yeah.
with strangers on the street or like I remember like when I was in the airport when I first saw here and then this random person just like uh walked towards me and like started complaining about the vending machine or something. I was like, do I know? Well, I don't know. That was a little bit weird for
Yeah.
me.
No, that also feels extremely regional.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's in my experience in Massachusetts and maybe even broader New England. I very rarely have people talk to me.
Yeah, maybe in New York. Yeah, in
Yeah.
New York, people are more
Urban thing, yeah.
It's
indifferent.
yeah, the New York and Boston subways systems are
Right.
night and day in comparison to each other. But it's
Yeah.
a whole weird thing. But I part of the show that I've enjoyed is that because this covers people from all over the world. Listen, broad stroke culture is all well and good, but I like the kind of the everyday minutia of life, and the kind of what makes people just kind of like what is their day-to-day enjoyment sort of thing. That isn't that does so we're not painting a country with a broad brush of this is what all those people are like, that kind of thing.
Mm.
That always so I guess in that question, Rachel, what is this is a Indiepocalypse throwback of something that I was obsessed with on the show and kind of still am. What is a staple food that you're like, wait, I can't get this in America at all?
Oh, it's probably a good question for C too because he loves Chinese food. For me, I think. Yeah, I feel like in the U.S., when you say like, "Oh, I want Chinese food," it can be a very specific thing.
Yeah.
Like sesame chicken or like it's usually something sweet from my experience, but then it's kind of like that. Yeah, that's kind of different from like actual Chinese food, but also Chinese. Like China is a big place, so
Yeah.
Chinese food can mean a lot of things. So yeah, that was one of the first. Like,
right, learning.
I
I want like what a change. Just like, oh, Chinese food. There's Chinese food all over the place in America, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, what's this stuff? This is
yeah.
this very specific version of like American Chinese food restaurants.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting because it's technically like they invented a new kind of Chinese food. Like it's it's a new thing. So
and there's
great.
like, so far as I can tell, there aren't any like I've never actually encountered like a Chinese food chain in America that I know of.
I mean, there's the Panda Express.
Oh yes, right, Panda Express, right?
Yeah, but I don't know.
I think it's because those are always in malls. I don't think of them as restaurants.
Yeah.
But
I remember going to a Chinese restaurant and then they asked me if you want the Chinese menu or the English menu, and then they were like totally different
they didn't mean like in Chinese, but like the do you want the Chinese menu? Like
yeah, like it's not just the language. Like the menu would be in Chinese, but also the dishes would be different.
Yeah.
Like yeah. So there's that.
Really, when did you meet that situation? Because I never met any situation that the Chinese, like the menu in English is different from the menu in Chinese.
Yeah, I forgot. It was not that common, but it was just that once, and I don't think it's in New York either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let me
Oh, Casey.
see. Welcome. I am getting your thing ready as we speak.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm listening to your conversation, so yeah.
No, but feel free to. It will take me but a moment to get you ready, which is
Sure.
which is only really ready for like this live stream. No one after the fact sees it. But oh, there you are. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you.
If you were here live in the pre-show, I played like a good sampling. Like the front half was a sampling of your songs that I had available.
Okay. Yeah. That song is my favorite. Like it's my favorite one since I scoring for film, like for films and game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Good day.
Yeah. What?
Wow, that's pretty cool. Hot Pot for One has a rockin' soundtrack.
Yeah, I played. I kind of just. I just kind of went through your SoundCloud and just like picked them all more or less because they're
Thank you.
they're shorter selections and you had filled out your like music please and I'm like yeah sure I love playing music when people ask me to play their music. So I hop off for One and Good Day both in the opening salvo of music.
Thank you.
But yes.
Yeah. So yeah. Go on, Billy.
No. Listen, number one rule is just talk over me. I'll be quiet.
Yeah, so like speaking of the song, like so the reason we named this game Good Day is because that song I sample like in my song is the name is Good Day. And this is a really it's a like a country music like country Chinese music song,
Okay.
kind of things like that. Like folk singers will sing, like they will sing for the leaders, for the government. So the Good Day is a really typical song, especially for like the Chinese government is celebrating the holidays. And it is sung by a really famous folk song singers. Zoe Song and that her name is Song as well. Okay, so the singer Song.
Yeah.
Okay, the singer Song is like well that song is kind of so orchestra how to say that word?
Orchestral.
It's really orchestra. There's a lot like a full orchestra band, and the woman is standing in front of the stage, in the middle of the stage, and it's really gorgeous. Like she's singing in a concert, and it's gorgeous. Well, I sampled that song, and I want to do some like a little bit like funny things.
Yeah.
So I tune it to a like to a trap like house type song. So
right,
yeah.
like you if you were to take that folk song and make it like a real trashy casino song.
Yeah.
Right.
That
Yes,
would be
exactly. Exactly.
That'd be pumping in a place where the lights never go out.
Well, you know what? I can't even like I can't even publish that song in China because I'm afraid I might get censored. I might get censored because that song is like government folk song. So yeah, I'm afraid.
Right. It's like yeah,
I guess you Americanized it.
Yeah. That's truly taking something and stripping it of all its dignity, the American style.
Yes.
Nothing more American than that.
With that, we can do more more things like that in China. Instead of like, I don't know, like, just, what's the saying for it? Like, put something on the pedestal and then just admire it. Like, you cannot really criticize it or like even make jokes about it.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's a word for it, but I'm also, I would say the specific word I'm looking for is maybe uncommon because I can't think of it. Like
Yeah.
deify is not the right word, but it's the right idea.
Right. Yeah.
Something less. There's a less extreme word in that tier, but I don't know what it is.
But something along those lines. Yeah. So I wish. I'm glad we did that. In Good Day, and it's so strong that it became the name of our game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is, now that I've got the three of you here, what was the design process of Good Day? Because it's a bit, like, let's say, it's an Indiepocalypse kind of game, you know. So what goes into saying like what's the design process to making a game like that? Is it just like the freedom of just feeling, I'll just make a game?
I mean, it was we saw the 7-day FPS game jam.
Okay.
And and I always like to do game jams because it's fun and a chance to like collaborate with other people you haven't worked with before. And me and Toby went to the same grad school at NYU, but we never really worked on a project together. So I was like, oh, this is a perfect chance, opportunity to do that. And both of us work on like first-person games.
Yeah.
And then that's a FPS game jam, so that's the perfect occasion for this collaboration. So I was like, oh, let's do this. And we started brainstorming, and Toby, feel free to chime in. But yeah, so, and I think we talked about, how did we come up with the idea of a casino?
I think I was on vacation with my family in Las Vegas, like right before the game jam, like when we were like brainstorming for ideas, and then like I was just, I don't know if you've ever been to like Las Vegas, Andrew, but like
no, I almost went once.
It's horrible, but
yeah,
like there's a bunch of casinos that are themed after usually European countries, right? And so I was wandering around. I was like, what would it look like if it was themed after like an Asian country?
Yeah, and I remember like going to Macau, and there's something similar. There's like an indoor setting, but they will paint like skies, like a painting of sky on the ceiling. It's so weird, and it's very disorienting, and then all the buildings inside the hall would be, I think that was a Venus themed casino. And then we were just like, oh, what if it's, Asia?
Yeah, country-themed casinos, I feel like, are always, they're always like decorated very stereotypically, borderline like racist.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
They need to. They're like, well, it's the what is the drunken Vegas crowd approximation of what a country is.
Yeah.
So they're like, no subtlety here. It's a giant pyramid. Oh, yeah, I've never. I only have like a visual image of what a casino looks like because I've never been in one.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's so disorienting.
Exactly like Good Day.
Oh, perfect. Exactly.
Exactly.
Jeez, well, remind me to like not go on any dates in casinos, anytime. Do they have canoes? They have like water features like that?
Maybe not exactly, but But like there are canoes sometimes, like the I
Yeah.
forget. I think it's like the Bellagio in Las Vegas. It's like an Italian themed casino, like based
Yeah.
off of Venice, and they'll have like I forget what you call it. It's
The
like
canals.
the rivers or whatever, the canals. Yeah.
Yeah. The one in Macau too. They have. I forgot the name of the casino.
Yeah. I guess it's a common thing.
What a world if there were actually like rice fields in a casino though. Just big sloppy wet fields.
Yeah, that's what I always thought was like so funny about it. Like, yeah, Asian theme, but then can be fun as a game. It's like walking in a rice field.
Yeah.
Wet everywhere.
Just far too loud.
Yeah.
The beautiful hum of the
Coin slot.
The coin slots. That's what they are. They're slot machines.
Yeah.
It was interesting saying that that you hadn't even going to the same grad program, that you hadn't worked on a lot of things together. Because I get a lot of I asked the old Indiepocalypse question on every show, and I also get like a lot of people out of NYU, and I was like, is it trickling through slowly? But it's like, oh no, these are big, and then none of these people may even necessarily know each other, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. No, it's fine.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty insulated, but year by year. Rachel was 1 year ahead of me, so I really only worked. We only really worked with people in our own cohort.
Right. It's always like, yeah. I guess all college is actually separated year by year. Now that I think about it, all school is separated year by year when you think about it.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I feel like there's some collab.
Yeah.
Maybe for like, it depends on the school, but
right. And I guess like gen eds are usually more of a mix sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's like you've got first year starting, and then fourth year is just trying to get them out of the way because they put them off maybe.
Yeah. I definitely did that in my undergrad.
Right, because you're like, why do I want to take History 101? I didn't come to college. I'm not paying for college, so I can just take generic courses about nothing, But then they're like, well, we want more money, so we're not trade schools. And it's like, there's a lot more. There's like way more game design courses now than there ever were, like probably even like 5 years ago. But I feel like NYU is also one of the first, or at least the more prominent ones.
Yeah, I think they've been around for a decade now.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more. Maybe not as old as USC, but yeah, even a lot of high schools I think in the US are teaching game design programs now.
Yeah,
classes.
You gotta train the next generation of Roblox programmers. Get them ready for their that fealty design of, well, I'm just making all of my games for a company.
Yeah.
And I'll get a cut of them one day. Important question for the teams: what is Roblox? Like at its core, what is vanilla Roblox?
I have no idea. I only started hearing about Roblox maybe last year or something.
I guess
it's been around forever.
Yeah.
I guess a double question: is there a vanilla Roblox, or is Roblox just games within a shell, like a social shell?
Metaverse.
Yeah, a meta game.
Metaverse, huh? Metaverse, eh? I hear that stuff's doing really well lately.
Yes.
Is it though?
I heard something about 98%. That sounds really good. I didn't investigate any further whether those were numbers up or down, but from what I hear, it's only going up. I watched that video about the coin the weird coin guy telling me all about stuff. That island seemed great. I can't
Yeah, I
wait.
think I saw a video essay about VR chat or something, and recently that just came out, which is
About-
like maybe the only long-lasting metaverse.
Right. Well, because is it even a metaverse or is it just VR chatting?
Yeah, I don't know.
What is a metaverse? I guess.
Yeah, kind of a dumb name.
What? No, that is what is a is. I don't know. Actually, I don't think it actually means anything. I think it's just kind of like digital storefronts or something,
Yeah.
but with a very exciting new name.
Yeah. I feel like it's more like digital, like real estate. 'Cause
Right. We need, of course, because I needed more. We need more places where people cannot own real estate.
yeah.
So why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. Well, like the metaverse, the translation in Chinese is even ridiculous. Like a lot of people really hate that name because that they translate that into like two words. Um, the first part is yuan, which means like money. Well, is that money like in Chinese? Well, yeah. And
Yeah,
the
Chinese
second
yuan
part, yeah, yuan is the Chinese
currency.
the currency, yeah, currency. And then the second part is universe, and that like in Chinese is
Oh my god.
universe.
Money
So
universe.
does that mean that the universe is full of money? So I really hate
It feels more
Made of
honest.
money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
it, which is true.
It feels like they like translated accurately.
Yeah.
It's just a universe of money for people to make more money in. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows about that sort of thing? I'm not interested in. I don't have metaverse money, you know. I'm just
Yeah.
Me either.
I'm just a little guy with a.
Yeah, I guess Indiepocalypse is the exact opposite
of a metaverse, and then it loses. Well, I mean, I think I share the we have kinship in that we're both losing a lot of money. I'm just not losing as much. Nor am I selling my house or whatever, my car to buy more whatever tokens so I can power up my guys in new things. So I had somebody message me on Discord about like, hey, would you like to integrate the blockchain into Indiepocalypse? Although I think he said your project. He didn't even say. And I was like,
copy and paste.
yeah. And I said, do you know it also had like a lot of like weird formatting in it. Like it was clearly like, you know how you bold in things and everything. Had a lot of weird bold and italics, like it was just copied from a marketing email.
Yeah. Spam.
Yeah, and I did ask them. I'm like, oh, do you know what this thing is and how would this help me? And he's like, well, you know, if you're not interested, I'm not going to try to convince you. Which is, I think, like what every good salesman does is when asked, how does your product help me? You just kind of give up immediately. And you go, well, I don't understand. It's not for you. And that actually is a problem I run into occasionally of people being like, I don't get it. And I'm like, well, I guess it's not for everybody. That's the secret I think that game developers need to learn is like when a gamer comes up to your booth and there's like, I don't get it, or you should do this, be like, I wasn't really asking for feedback at all, you know?
Yeah.
Could you... Is that as common in other mediums? Like if you go to a concert and then they're working the merch booth, are there a lot of people going up there like, you know, in the third song, I think you could have sped it up a little more, you know, or like, I think like a C chord would have worked really well in that last song you played, or are they just like regular humans who talk to people and don't feel the need to, I don't know, provide unsolicited advice.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's the thing for gaming that usually happens in video games design. Like your players would reach out and say like, you can do this better by taking my advice.
Right.
Yeah.
Why
Maybe
is that?
it's
I'm curious.
maybe it's because video games. I mean, at least some get patched and that sort of thing, and so
Right.
games are always in a state of maybe being play tested to some people. I don't know.
I guess. Yeah. I guess when every game is like early access, then
Mm.
This is our early version. This is our version 0.12, and I'm like, why? You don't need to do this to yourself. No one's making you do that. It's kind of goes to when I was talking to Toby about making your logo, and no one's making you do that. No one's saying you need a logo. No one's saying you need to call your game an alpha. You can just kind of put a thing out,
Yeah.
and be like, I'm working on it still, or I'm not working on it anymore. I'm done.
Yeah. Basically, what I did for Hop Off for One, like I just put it out there without any, like, I don't know, like without having like early access or like, oh, this is just a alpha or whatever.
Yeah.
Just put it out there and then update if I have time or not. No promises.
Right.
Fine.
You don't have to be like, oh yeah, here's the version 2.0 coming down.
Yeah.
So Rachel, what was your you saying you didn't have a roadmap for Hot Pot for One? You didn't have a series of deliverables?
I do in my head, but then when the deadline reaches, I was like, nope, I can't do it. I have other things I need to do to survive, so I like put it aside, set a new timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fine because it's my own project, and then it's not like they're my boss or like they're funding it. So.
Right. And, sometimes games can just be done,
Yeah, or they can just be done.
You can just be like, oh, I'm done making games. The game is done. I don't need to.
Yeah.
I don't need to upgrade. You don't need skins.
Yeah.
You don't need monthly content for monthly a new veggie each month.
Yeah, once I met a player who reached out from Steam, I think, and yeah, they must have saw my email on Steam, and then they just wrote me like a 2-page proposal of like, oh, how can I make Hop Off for One better? Like essentially a business plan. And then I was like, wow, thank
Pretty
you.
weird.
Yes. It's a thing where I wonder like what compels that person to do that, Like there is that culture in games and I don't understand it. That is that desire to be like I this person really is looking for my help. I think they really need it,
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the greatest reliefs was when someone was like playing one of the games at an event, and then he was like, "Are you open to feedback?" I'm like, "I didn't make the game, and it's done, so no, I'm not looking for feedback." It was freeing after having like politely accepted it for so many years, showing games off.
Yeah. No, I want to do that every time someone asks me that question. No, I'm not looking for feedback. It's done.
No, I'm good.
I haven't had the opportunity to actually like show a game at a convention or anything, but I guess I have that to look forward to whenever or if that happens.
Yeah, you can look out, keep an eye out for all the gamers in the crowd. They have that real specific vibe of someone who is gonna. And I've never realized that people. there was you can look at commercials and be like, or TV shows, and people don't play video games like that where they just smash every button, they move the controller around a lot, until you go to conventions and it's like, oh, people do play games like that apparently, where they just smash on everything, and it's like, it's such a weird experience, but it's nice, I suppose. I don't know. I'm looking forward to getting out.
Are there any sort of game events in Massachusetts?
There are. I mean, there's PAX East.
Oh, I didn't realize PAX East was there.
Yeah, it's in Boston. There's also, yeah. I went for like a day after I did another show in like Vermont, and my thing was like, if nobody buys anything the first day, I'm just gonna dip out and leave, because I have to literally drive through Boston on my way home anyway. And then I was like, I'll just stop by real quick, because why not? And it was like, oh, this is fine. I don't actually. It was like, do I know anyone here? That was what the thing. It was like, I was gonna be like, it's been 2.5 years. Do I know people now? The answer was no. Still.
Is PAX more for like AAA? Actually, I've never been.
That was my question too.
Are there like a lot of indie games stuff there?
Yeah, I think it's mostly indie now.
Okay.
No, I got caught up by a very someone fighting the good fight for me in a way that I'm very grateful for. There's there's someone who very enthusiastically is always like, I love Indiepocalypse, but also not to the extent where I will share with my much larger following, or, oh, I love it, I'll buy it or subscribe right away. And it's like, I can see who buys and subscribes to it, Why lie to me? I just don't like... I can't take the positivity of things, of internet interactions. I just wish people were more straightforward and honest, I suppose. But
yeah, it's a bummer to hear that. I guess you say you're losing money doing Indiepocalypse. I don't know if you're joking or not.
Oh no. Okay, how do I describe? I am on a technical level losing money producing Indiepocalypse, in that it costs me more money to make than I do earn back.
Yeah.
But on a larger metaphysical level, Indiepocalypse exists because I paid off my student loans and my car loans, and then transferred that money into producing Indiepocalypse. So in this theoretical world, if you assume that being in debt is just a natural state of existence, then I am technically making a lot more money.
Sure.
Because where debt used to exist, I'm getting some of that money back, because despite being rather punctual on my loans never gave me any money back every month.
Right.
Which was quite rude of them, if you ask me. But I guess in a way I did, because I paid less interest overall. But that's a whole other... Interest is a whole other thing. But yeah. Now, that was a weird sidebar to get.
No, but I think it's a good way of looking at this, and you get to spend money on things that you actually care about.
Yes.
So that's great.
Yeah. No. My weird sidebar. Sorry, my weird sidebar. Someone expressing a thing that I've been meaning to. That I wish. That's a tricky thing. I want to be able to disagree with people on the internet and it not be like the be all end all, Because you should be able to be like, if the third time someone's like, oh, I love this thing so much, I'm going to buy it right away, and I go, well, then buy it already. You haven't yet. And that not to be a internet drama nonsense, but whatever, irrelevant really, I suppose.
But have people saw your things and said like, nope, I'm not going to buy.
Yeah,
Would
yeah,
that
I would
be, like,
appreciate
weird?
that. Like, yeah, yes, I would much rather someone be like, I love this thing conceptually, but I'm not actually going to buy it.
Oh,
Just,
yeah.
just, if, do the things you're going to say you're going to do. I don't know. There's a this is just the weird thing where people seem to really like it, but the people who are it's not. It's how the internet works. You can't talk about things that are not popular, I suppose. So, without having a anyway, speaking of video games, let's get off of this weird tangent. Mario, the man himself. You guys know that guy, right? Mario.
Yep.
He's got a mustache. He jumps on pipes sometimes.
Oh, isn't Toby photo like holding a
Yeah,
Mario?
so I'm thinking about I think about Mario sometimes, and a lot of people, and mostly that people's relationship to Mario is more it's been very theoretical, sort of, and that a lot of people have asked on the show kind of have very little relationship with Mario. So I have to ask the three of you, what's your relationship with Mario? Have you played any of his outings?
I guess I could start.
Yeah.
I think the first game I ever played was actually like Super Mario Brothers 3. I'm actually not a big Nintendo person.
Yeah.
Even though my avatar, I guess, is me holding Mario. But
Yeah. And that is also like a very so that's like a very specific, in my mind, that is actually also a very specific Mario.
Yeah, sure. With
because
got
he's
a Bowser.
no, like that Mario face, like, so that looks like maybe it's not the exact one. So there's a guy on the internet who makes funny jokes. Is in, like, I don't know, the Indiepocalypse extended universe, or like a like friend of a contributor of a thing, within the wider sphere of influence, who is not directly related, but because I know 2 steps removed or whatever, that I'm aware of them. But their avatars, that I think that Mario.
Oh.
There's like that very specific face that I look at and I go, oh, it's that guy. So when you post it, I'm like, oh, is it that guy, Mario? But anyway, Mario 3. But you don't like Nintendo? Is that what you're telling me? Is this an anti-Nintendo crew? I can't believe it.
Yeah, I grew up. I mean, I had like a couple Nintendo handhelds, and I guess I have like a Switch now and stuff. But I don't know. I guess I've never really gravitated towards Nintendo games as much as maybe other things.
I wonder if it has to do with whether or not you're Toby. Important question, and not
Sure.
to do too much gotcha journalism on this, but you're not a child, right?
I am 27.
I think that might have something to do with it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Nothing. No. That feels mean sometimes, just to get on a mean streak. But sometimes, you ought to. All ages doesn't mean you have to spend every age in your life only playing it. Only getting into that sort of thing.
Yeah, there are a lot of people my age that love Nintendo, though.
Yeah. No, listen, there are a lot of Disney adults in the world. And
Very true.
Nintendo adults are like a close cousin. I mean, they're opening that's in Japan, isn't it? Nintendo Land.
Yeah, that just happened. They are opening one in California soon. I
Okay.
think.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Ooh.
the Universal Studios here.
Mm.
Oh, okay, so it's like part of Universal.
Yeah. It's like, I think Universal also has a Harry Potter land or something, so Nintendo will be like right next to it.
Oh, maybe they're going to try to slowly phase that one out as it becomes less marketable. Not as it. People aren't worried about like moral objectability. They're just worrying about like, does moral objectability lead to it becoming less marketable? Does it become cheaper to just replace wands with fire flowers? And how quickly can you stitch a bunch of M's to all these wizard hats?
Yeah, but I mean, Nintendo's had a lot of controversy this past. I mean,
Oh yeah.
week and a half,
Well,
2 weeks.
well, if people are learning the truth that Nintendo is also a large corporation, a large profit driven, and they're like, huh,
What kind of controversies? I didn't know.
just the standard bad labor practices and all that.
Oh.
All corporations. Yeah.
Right.
The usual, as it were.
Yeah, Nintendo. I feel like Nintendo has had controversy like every year for the past like 5 or 6 years. I mean, there was that thing maybe last year, 2 years ago, about like the person who like was putting up ROMs of like old Nintendo games online. They were getting like spied on by like private detectives that Nintendo hired or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're very weird. Listen, if Nintendo just put game preservation is a very weird thing because it's like, I think games don't have, there are no universal I mean, the PC is the closest thing to a universal console, you know?
Yeah.
But like that games are still proprietary is very weird. Like that we haven't shifted yet. That we still have 3 discrete boxes is a very weird thing, you know.
Yeah, and that there's still people who are like doing the whole console war thing,
Right.
too.
Were there diehard HD DVD heads who were like, no, it's the only way to watch movies is on HD DVD. Blu-ray is for Sony fans. But yeah, it's a strange thing. It also like, it's also something I wondered about with like when like PSN was shutting down and people were like, oh, these games are going to disappear, and like, now this is like besides the logistics of it, serious question. What is preventing? If I was like, say I'm some old Japanese company, you know, like not FromSoft because they're popular, but like some story, like I'm like an Art Dink or something. What's stopping me from just like selling ROMs of, you know, my games on itch, you know, or ISOs, and saying, play them in a emulator? Like, cause like people do that already with like Game Boy Homebrew and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is there like a Sony legal issue, or who knows?
I don't know. In the case of like I mentioned earlier that I guess I'm teaching game design right now, and I like provide ROMs for all my students. I was provided ROMs when I was in game design school too,
Yeah.
and like emulators. I felt like it's like standard practice, but like a lot of my students felt really uncomfortable, even though me as a teacher, you know, is like giving them these emulators to play games. Like, yeah, they're like, oh, I feel weird about it, or like I feel like I'm breaking a law.
Right. Well, I mean, especially if you're not playing like Super Mario World and you're playing some like anything that's mildly more obscure, like they don't repackage stuff as easily.
Yeah.
Is someone supposed to track down like some $300, like a Super NES and like some $300 copy of Earthbound if they want to play Earthbound or something?
Yeah, I know, it's like ridiculous.
Although I guess that was actually
Yeah.
re-released fairly recently.
Yeah, after a while. But like even like Mother 3 or something.
Right. Yes. Or any number of like games that are just like probably more interesting, but there's no like.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that like the people who are doing like, you know, like, oh, we're making Mega Man collections and stuff like that, is they'll eventually start trickling down into just like weird stuff.
Yeah, like more non-canonized games.
Yeah. And just saying like, here's a version, here's an executable of this game that will just keep running in perpetuity, you know? But I don't know. I just want to have, like, it's just a very strange thing. I think Ouya was on to something, you know? They had an idea, which was that really it's just the console of the future is just the Raspberry you know the thing. It's a box that plays a Raspberry Pi that just you can load emulators on and ROMs on, and then I just buy ROMs from a store.
I think standard practice should be torrent all AAA games and then buy all indie games.
I used to do a very weird thing where I would torrent like demo. I would basically treat myself to like demos by torrenting like PS2 games and burning them, and and using that as like using my modded PS2 to play like demos of games, or as a way to like import games.
That's cool.
Because I wasn't paying like $80 to be like, wow, this Cowboy Bebop game sucks. Instead, I can just pay nothing and be like, wow, this game sucks.
Yeah.
And then never play it again.
I think it's an interesting thing that in China, I feel like a lot of people, they grew up playing like someone from the internet, like in China, would like buy a copy of say like a AAA game and then just make or burn it on like another like disk or something, and then just upload it to the internet and everyone can download it and without just what's the word for it? Like just I guess like a crack.
Or like bootleg.
Yeah. And I feel like before high school, like that's I thought how games should be played.
Right.
Because everyone is doing it.
Yeah. Those like in my mind, those like 300 games in one things are very synonymous with the idea of the Chinese bootleg.
Yeah.
Especially when you get like a weird like original game in there too. Sometimes. Like a homebrew game that goes with it. Yeah, it's people don't realize that outside of like the game producing countries, games are played like not only are they like super expensive in a lot of places, like ridiculously expensive to get things.
Yeah.
You think it's hard getting a PS5 in the US, you know?
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid and like my family visited Vietnam to like see our other extended family and stuff. I was in like a mall and they had it's when I was like 7 or I was like 10 or something, but it was the first time I played like a bootleg game or like a physical copy of a bootleg game because they had a Pokemon, like it was like a homebrew Pokemon thing.
Oh yeah.
Forgetting what it was, like Pokemon Chaos Black, and I bought it for like $20 or something.
Yeah.
My family did. And I had a great time with it.
Yeah, I mean, really, those are just like ROM hacks, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like a magical little world, you know? Of just...
Yeah, a lot of games in Asia, like, they're all, like, you know, even if they're like real Pokemon games and stuff, they're like fake.
Right, because like proximity-wise, like, you can they're very easy to get your hands on, like originals.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that's like where a lot of the factories are, even so they just have the hardware lying around, easy access to it. So in the same place in the Pokemon factory where the Pokemons are being made, that's also where Pokemon Chaos Black is being made, but down a different line.
Yeah. I wonder how many they made because they had a bunch.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Like even in the U.S., like you have like those clearly dubiously legal 30-in-1 consoles for a long time. I have some. I think I have at least one that is like clearly not official, but from anybody.
When I was in New York, MoMA PS1, the museum had like the Soldier Boy console, like
Oh,
that
yeah.
you could play, which
It
is
did?
cool. Yeah, I played
Oh.
Street Fighter 2 against someone on it.
What was that thing? Is it just
was
like an
like-
Android thing?
It was like a console, I guess Soldier Boy made that basically had a bunch of. It had an NES emulator, a SNES emulator
Okay.
on it, like a bunch of just different consoles on it, just wrapped into one with a bunch of the games. It's like
Yeah.
he downloaded like the whole library off of the internet and just put it onto one physical machine.
I mean, listen, man, go for it.
And he tried selling it too, which is I respect it. It's
Well, he probably grew up with like those same 301 consoles. He's like,
yeah.
yeah, you can just sell these things, right? I had like 6 of them as a kid, right?
Yeah, I'm sure that probably was the logic.
Yeah.
behind that.
He probably grew up like everyone else did, like downloading like Visual Boy Advance or whatever and playing Pokemon on his computer.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, yeah, of course I can get this. Anyone can. It's just free bootleg consoles for everybody. They can't be illegal if I got them as a kid, right? Like I literally
Yeah, I remember, like last time my mom was, I was playing, I forgot what game, but like made by a big company, and then my mom like looking at my screen, was like, oh, you have to, like I was buying the game, and she's like, oh, you have to pay to play games.
yeah.
Yeah.
So as we crest over, as we approach now an hour and a half, as we wind the show down, I have one final question for everybody, which is,
Okay.
if you were to make your bootleg ROM hack version of a game, what would your bootleg ROM hack be? That some kid in some corner of the Philippines would buy and be like, no, this is totally real. This is my version of Pokemon.
Hmm. I was just thinking, like what Toby said, like the Nintendo controversy, like their private spies from Nintendo.
You'd be worried about it.
Like it seems like a very cool game idea, like about Nintendo. Like even though they make the
You
games
make a
for all
game about
ages. Hmm. What did you say?
Oh, I was a little confused on what you were talking about. You'd make a game about Nintendo hiring private detectives to spy on you?
Yeah, like I don't know, like you would be playing a very like lighthearted Nintendo game, but then in reality, like they're spying on you, and then like yeah, it's like revealing like what they really are, like a large corporation that tracks your activity and like whatever. I don't know. It just sounds
Can I-
really cool.
Can I help you make
Dystopian.
that game?
Yeah.
So it's like one of those games where like, oh, I'm just playing a cute Nintendo game, but then it does that thing where like it zooms out from the screen and it puts you in the real world.
Yeah, like a dystopian.
Where you're getting taken to court by Nintendo. Well, Godspeed for that. And yes, I understand excitement to make a game like that.
It'd be like a Frog Fractions thing or something.
Yeah. No, I've
Yeah.
had the ambition before, and I might, now that I'm making games again, I might even do it eventually. Where I want to make like, you know how there's all those like creepypasta games where it's like cursed consoles or whatever,
Sure.
and I wanted
Oh,
to,
what are those? What,
You know, people-
creepypasta?
it's like they're like scary stories. I don't know why. You know they call them creepypasta because it was copypasta, which is just people copying and pasting. I'm here doing. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm just doing etymology, which comes from copy paste for some reason. Maybe someone misspelt it at some point, and that's just stuck. But like, oh, I got a version of Pokemon, but all the characters are dead. And I summoned a Charmander, but his eyes were bleeding. And it made glitchy sound effects the whole time. But and I'm going to refresh this idea in my brain and in the public. I wanted to make a very standard, like, oh, it's like a fun platformer. But it draws a random number at the beginning. And if, like, it draws that number, like, it's only on, like, first boot. If it draws that number, then you get, like, the cursed version of the game. So that theoretically, like, thousands and thousands of people could buy this game, and then, like, only a couple would have, like, this weird cursed version.
Yeah.
Mm.
That would be pretty cool. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. That's why I was saying it. Because so like, maybe I'll do it. But then it's like, oh, you'll never know which game I put out is actually secretly that. Just have to play it to find out. But
Yeah, I look forward to it.
I just have to get, good at making games. But
Yeah, if I were to do like a homebrew thing, it would probably be some sort of 3D game. There's that like 3D models resource website where you can just like
Mm.
download 3D models from like a lot of different old games. And I'd probably just make some sort of weird mashup.
Wait, which website are you talking about?
We should link it. There's like a 2D version for sprites and then a 3D version for the.
Oh.
yeah, I feel like
It's called models-resource.com, and it just has a bunch of 3D models from Nintendo games or Sony or basically everything. I'd probably just grab some from there and make some weird combo, maybe like Persona mixed with Pokemon or something. I don't know.
Oh.
Here, I'll link it. Where can I? Maybe in the Discord chat.
yeah, just put in the old Discord chat.
Nice.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
this group.
This 100%
see.
looks like that the one I go to, the 2D one. So this is definitely the same thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh. And you can use it to make whatever.
I mean, yeah. Why not?
I mean, like for is it for personal use or like commercial use? Is there like license?
I don't think you're supposed to use it for anything.
Yeah.
But people have done it anyways.
It's just like, we all know it's there, we're just,
Yeah.
let's just be quiet. It's one of those things on the internet where they're all just cool about,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like I know there's some people from Baby Castles they've made some games using this kind of stuff.
Mm.
Like Flan.
Yeah.
I think Flan actually had a game at a maze.
Yeah.
I think they won like Best Audience Award or something.
Yes.
And then that has a bunch of like Nintendo.
It does.
Oh.
Titanic 2, that was.
Yes. Yeah.
Fun fact about Titanic 2, that was in Indiepocalypse.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Great game.
As an early, like an exclusive early version of it was the commissioned game for like the 14th or 15th issue or something. In the 14th, 13th maybe. Back when it was called like Orchestra of a Dying Sea, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that game is a treat. If you haven't played it, treat yourself to what is as of time of record and likely the future called Titanic 2. Turn your speakers down or turn them up, maybe. Turn your headphones down. Turn your speakers up is what I will say. All these 3D models. Anyway, I'm going to use them to make my video game webcomics like they used to back in the day.
Hell yeah.
There's got to be someone doing that. But anyway, that's the show. Speaking of plugging other people's stuff, like plugging Flan stuff, what if the three of you got to promote? I'll go in order of the screen, as I always do. See, what have you got to plug?
Uh, the plug, you mean
To promote.
Promote?
Yeah, where can people find your work?
Oh yeah. So basically, I have SoundCloud, Spotify, but like SoundCloud has a lot of like music pieces that is not like that official because I usually put those officially published work in Spotify.
Okay.
So SoundCloud might be a good place to just like have a like a rough like of what I'm doing and what's the genre of my music. Yeah,
Yeah, and
I'll
you're
send it to Discord.
yeah. If you go to your site, which is
Oh yeah, yeah,
siyichen.com, or sorry, music.com.
yeah. Right. That's my website.
Yeah, and that'll get you all the places you need to go.
Yeah.
Links abound. Rachel, what have you got to promote?
I'm not really working on any new games right now, so I would just say follow my Twitter.
Yeah, do you have any old games that if people buy still get you money?
Yeah, I would say Hop Off for One. That's a game I released last year. Yeah, if you're into game about food and loneliness and that's the game. Feel free to check it out on itch.io or it's on Steam as well.
Yeah. That's the secret of that I try to preach is that games, they're still good even if they're not, even after they come out. You know,
Yeah.
they don't suddenly become like. It's the one of the things I hate most about kind of game culture is like the endless hype circles. You know,
Yeah.
that it's like yes, games are only important when we're hyping them up even though they haven't come out yet. I was hoping that I was like saying when events start opening back up, what if we only brought games that were released and we sold them and no one brought preview games to events anymore? What if we changed that so that like we're like, I'm gonna go to like any other self-respecting artist, you're going to an event to break even.
I like that.
Yeah, and I think it's possible. I think if enough people start doing it, you can just kind of shift the culture that way. That's like
Right.
what literally every other con is about. All other artists do that.
Yeah.
Imagine putting on a concert and being like not accepting ticket money and not having a merch table. You're just like, I'm just trying out some stuff for our new album. Thanks for coming. We're taking notes later. Buy the album when it comes out. What if concerts were performed in lead up to albums, and then once the album was released, they didn't have concerts? What a weird thing that would be.
Like it's too late. You don't get to listen to live music.
What a games are so messed up, you all.
Yeah, it just feels so commercialized, and it's a bummer, but maybe if there's like some of the smaller cons and stuff, we can start out doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could ever imagine something like E3.
No, listen, but E3 and like even GDC are like those are corporate trade shows. They're not like for a person working by themselves. That's why a GDC ticket's like $800.
Yeah.
Because they're expecting your company to buy it for you. But Toby, what have you got?
I guess I have an itch.io page you can check out with it's mostly some of my older work from when I was a student. So I guess it's TOBYDO .itch.io. You can find my other handles and stuff through there as well. And I guess I'm sort of turning my thesis project from school into like my first sort of bigger game, something longer than like 10 minutes. So
Okay.
guess look forward to that.
Oh yeah, this was on one of my. I was looking at your page. I'm like, all right, it's interesting when like I mentioned this at the top of the show when people are like on my little lists and then they just submit a game by themselves. I'm like, that works for me. And it's always a great feeling, you know. It saves me the trouble. But what I'm saying is Grass Mud Horse had been on that list for a while.
Yeah.
Just kind of sitting around, and I was like, oh, yes, this game. And I was like, 3 people. That's too many people.
Oh, yeah. I made that one with a couple of my classmates.
Oh, and they follow me as well. I think that's also one of the issues. Although that might not have been the case back. Who knows? Listen, I'm spreading my tendrils all throughout the world to try and corrupt people's minds by going, what if I didn't spend 6 years on a game? What if like if you had the chance, would you go back and give Good Day roguelike elements to give it more to give it better replayability?
You're considering.
Follow up, if you would, what would your roguelike element be?
Thinking we can do something with a slot machine. Maybe that can be roguelike. I don't know.
Yeah. What now?
It's a fun topic.
Now I'm thinking about this theoretical game that you just keep like you submit to like every game jam, every single heavily themed game jam. So you just but you just keep tacking on whatever that game jam requires of it. Like you make
that's a way to make a game. Like you just keep going to game jams with an unfinished game and like add a new mechanic to it.
Yeah.
Maybe after a year you have a complete game.
And maybe it's this weird Frankenstein mess, but it's something.
That sounds great. Like I would actually be interested in like a game jam marathon.
Right.
I keep working on the same.
You spend a year working on a game, but like only for like a week each month on to make it to a different game jam.
Yeah, how cool is that?
But speaking of other Frankenstein messes that are kind of something, Indiepocalypse is something that I like. And I would like you to buy it as well when you get a chance. Go to indiepocalypse.com, purchase a copy. Purchase, like, for instance, issue 27 even of Indiepocalypse. That some of the people here might get a little kickback if people buy enough, you know? That's what this thing is all about. It's all about circulating money around. It's injecting more money into the indie game economy and then spreading that money in a circle still, but getting more money for that circle.
I think you're doing great work.
Well, thank you. I will take the compliment as well as I can, but I'm bad at doing so. But anyway, you can submit stuff too. Indiepocalypse.com/submit. There's a Patreon. It's /Patreon. You can get physical copies of the zine every month. And be like, these are cool. You can listen. The PDF you get when you buy it are the same quality I use to print, so you can print your own too. I'm not gonna have private detectives track you down. I'm just gonna do my own. I'm just gonna let you do your own thing. Most of these games are free anyway on their respective pages. I'm just trying to change people's minds into thinking maybe they shouldn't always be free. You know. Maybe you should charge money. Maybe you could release a game for like $1 or $2 and people be like, yeah, that makes sense. I enjoyed it. I'll do it. But speaking of I'll do it, the thing I'm going to do is end this show. Thanks for being here, you all. Glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
Glad to have your game in the issue. glad it all exists. I'm looking for my windows that I need. This is my version of, trying to recreate conventions where they don't exist. Conventions being like, physical conventions one would attend, not conventions in terms of the standards and practices, as you will. But anyway, that's enough rambling. I'm going to close. Goodbye. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.